So you should have done this problem that's sitting in front of you right now. And so let's go ahead and do it together to check to make sure that you did it correctly. So again, step one, oops, went back page on accident. Again here, step one is to solve for a variable. And that one is done for us again, right? The y equals 2x plus 5 is done for us. So step two is to substitute and solve. So we're going to take this and we're going to replace, since y and 2x plus 5 are the same thing, I'm going to replace the 2x plus 5 in this equation. So that becomes 3x plus, but not y, it becomes 2x plus 5 equals 10. Again, notice that I have replaced the y with 2x plus 5. And now we solve this equation. A parentheses, since there's no multiplication, are not important here. So we can combine that, and it becomes 5x plus 5 equals 10. Subtracting 5 from both sides gives us 5x equals 5. And then we divide both sides by 5, and we get x equals 1. We have half of our solution. And then our last step, step 3, is to resubstitute, right? We're going to take that x equals 1 that we got, and we're going to plug it into the first equation, y equals 2x plus 5, and x equals 1. So this is y equals 2 times 1 plus 5. So y equals 7. So our solution is 1, 7. 1, 7 is the intersection of these two lines. And again, if we wanted to check it, 7 equals 2 times 1 plus 5. That's 5 plus 2, so 7 equals 7. That's great. 3 times 1 plus 7 equals 10. That's 3 plus 7, 10 equals 10. Checks out. 1, 7 is definitely our solution. So let's move on and do one where the step 1 is not solved for us. So here we need to take care of step 1 because notice that neither of these equations have a variable solved for already. And one is not isolated. So we need to solve for, I'm having a hard time with that tonight. We need to solve for a variable. And so it actually doesn't matter what we want to solve for here. When you're doing it, you should solve for the easiest one. So in this particular case, it would be irritating solving for the x or the y in this bottom equation. But if you'll notice on this top one, that x right there, it's by itself, it's positive. It's going to be really easy to solve for. So let's solve for the x. So by adding 2y to both sides, we can get the x by itself. So let's go to step 2. Now it's the same as what we did in the last one. We have an x solved for. X is 2y minus 6. So we're going to take this other equation, and instead of writing x, we're going to replace it with 2y minus 6. 4 times 2y minus 6 plus 6y equals 4. Notice that the x was equal to 2y minus 6. So I replaced the x with 2y minus 6. Right? This was 4 times x. Now it's 4 times 2y minus 6. I now have an equation where the y variable is the only variable. So we can solve. So we'll distribute the 4. We get 8y minus 24 plus 6y equals 4. Let's go ahead and combine these y terms, making that 14y minus 24 equals 4. I'm going to add 24 to both sides. And when I do that, I get 14y equals 28. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 14 and get y equals 2. Which is great. We are halfway done with our problem. We have the y value. We now need to find the x value. So we're going to take this y equals 2 and we're going to plug it in to that equation right there. Gah! Sorry, that was my like scream of rage because I keep hitting this button on my Wacom pen. It's killing me. We are going to take this y equals 2 and we're going to plug it into that equation right there. And that's step 3. We're going to go x equals 2y minus 6, and we're going to take the y equals 2 and plug it in for the y, which is going to give us 4 minus 6 or negative 2. So there's my solution. Negative 2, 2 is the intersection point between these two lines. And again, we can check it, right? That's negative 2 minus 2 times 2 equals negative 6. That's negative 2 minus 4 equals negative 6. So negative 6 equals negative 6. Checks out for the top one. 4 times negative 2 plus 6 times 2 equals 4. That's negative 8 plus 12 equals 4, which is 4 equals 4. Checks out for both of them. And therefore it is a solution. Okay, I'd like you to try another problem like this where you have to solve for step 1 on your own. Again, if you have questions, make sure you're contacting me and I can help you out with those things. But go ahead and go back to your Canvas lesson now and do the second problem that is on your Canvas lesson.